Hey everybody, today I'm going to be taking a look at Nightfall Martial Law, which was the first expansion to the deck building game of Nightfall. Now, Martial Law is also a standalone game, but for the purposes of the video here, I'm going to be treating it as simply an expansion. So if you don't know how to play Nightfall at all, then I would point you to the video I've done for that game, and I'm going to put a link somewhere like right there. Okay? So go check that out first if you don't know how to play that. And in this one, I'm just going to highlight a couple of differences. I'm going to show you what the game offered, and then I'll come back and I'll tell you what I think of it, okay? Go. Nightfall Martial Law is a standalone set. And so it includes the starting minions, it includes wounds. So you can play just that set. It has 24 new cards you can play, both minions and actions. So I'm going to be showing you here some of them. And the main thing to point out, I think, is that this expansion didn't really change up the game so much as it sort of pushed it a little bit with a couple of new mechanisms. The expansion, I do think, is a logical next step to the first set. And it does work well on its own. But as an expansion, it doesn't tear the game down and build it back up. It feels logical as a logical next step. So let's take a look here at Silver Stake and Action, which says that while it's in the chain, you destroy a target vampire and you destroy a target lycanthrope. So the card types in this set start to matter. If you get vampires, if you get ghouls, if you get werewolves. So that's one thing that the set started to do. It started to push the types into the limelight. This one here, and by the way, what I'm showing you here is you can see this is the big word draft there. It's because these cards are the draft cards instead of the regular play cards. They're identical except for the back and except for that big word draft there. So don't worry about it. It's basically the exact same thing. Bleak Resurrection there says chain, place target minion from your discard pile into your play. And then it says feed, discard one card. So feed is a new keyword. It's a new ability, basically, that they introduced in this set. And what feed means is that once you've done this chain action, if you want to, you can feed it to do it again. And so you can discard one card to do that chain action again. So place target minion from your discard into play, discard a card, grab another target minion, put it into play, discard another card, put another one into play. So as you can see, it can get very interesting. I thought that was a great addition to the game. The feed mechanism is a cool one. Okay, this one we have here says that while it's in play, the card stays in play until destroyed. And so there's a couple of different cards in this set actually that have a similar ability to this. And the idea is, before the card attacked at the beginning of the turn, if you had it out already from the previous turn, and then it went away. Cards that have this now will stick around, unless something removes it, or, well, they take enough, you block with it and it takes enough hits to die, or someone, targets it with something. So, really cool, one of my favorites, just because, well, you get to leave it out there for a while. And then this one, I wanted to show you just because I think it's one of the coolest cards in the whole game. And as you can see here, it says in play, each of your minions has one additional strength. So getting this out there when you have a lot of little guys can really make a huge difference. You can just swing for the fences with that. So that's basically it. The set added feed, added a couple of different things, made the types matter. But it does feel like a very simple progression. And I think it's a good set. One other new thing to note here in Martial Law is that it introduces a new wound type. It's still, the burn, the bite, and such. And that part, again, doesn't really matter very much. But down here, the ability that you can use on having wounds in your hand. In the first set, in the original, the base game, the ability was different. In this set, the ability is that during your combat, you can discard that card. You can increase the strength of a target minion by 1. And it uses that feed ability that we talked about to enhance that. And so each turn you'll be able to trigger this once per turn, assuming you have that wound in your hand, or you'll be able to trigger one of the original ones which happened during your cleanup. Every turn you can do one, or you can do the other and enhance it with more, well, this kind anyway, but that's it. And this one you can discard more wounds to enhance as well. So, just wanted to highlight that as well. So, Martial Law includes the same starting minions as the base game. It has wounds, it has the cards themselves, the minions and the actions. So, would I recommend it as a starting set? I actually would recommend that you start with the original, just Nightfall, because while this works well and the cards are interesting, and I really like that feed mechanism, I think it's a great idea. I just like the cards in the original one a little bit better as an introduction. As an expansion, absolutely. I think it's a great expansion. The wound ability is not necessarily one of my favorites, and there will be more in upcoming expansions. Check those out. But the cards are solid. They're a smart evolution of what we had in the original set. They make sense. It's a solid progression. And so I like this one quite a bit. This is an easy inclusion for me if I'm setting up Nightfall, if I'm teaching it to someone. I might include a few cards from the original set, a few cards from this set, if I want to keep things pretty simple. Because I do like that feed mechanism a lot. And it's not a lot harder to explain. So I think it's a good set. It's a really solid set. You can play alone, but I recommend it as an expansion to the original Nightfall Martial Law.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.